Hey race fan, Brian Davis races, and you can too. I am excited about today's video. I will be reviewing TrainerRoad after having been really committed to it for all of 2019. Now let's back up to the beginning. Why did I pick TrainerRoad in the first place? Well, I spent a number of times trying the Zwift 4-week booster and things like that, and what would happen every single time after the end of one of those sessions? Predictable results. Things would fall off the rails. I would train myself, and the results were, again, predictable. So I chose TrainerRoad because there was a number of people in my state that were competing at a really high level using TrainerRoad in their off season. You could see posts on social media of them using TrainerRoad, and their performances were skyrocketing past where I was. So I thought, I think I'm going to try that. So that's how I first introduced myself to TrainerRoad. TrainerRoad is different from the other platforms because it is really built around outdoor real-life performance as the end result. To me, my opinion, that's what separates it from the other platform. Sort of a vanity metric with FTP, and TrainerRoad is really more focused on trying to get you race ready for the outdoor season. And to me, that's what it's all about. Not sweating in my basement. Being outside and racing my bike. When TrainerRoad released TrainerRoad Outdoors, I was able to transmit the workout to my head unit on my Garmin, and that was great. Now that I was able to get these workouts outside, I was much more diligent about not missing workouts. So here I started with Sweet Spot Base last year in the winter. Most of these are going to be in the basement. And you can see I missed the TSS on a number of these weeks. Some exceeded. Mostly I was pretty far short, and as I was diving into this for this video, I noticed a lot of cut short workouts and a lot of reduced intensity. So instead of 100% on these workouts, I was knocking them down to be able to complete them. Then I jumped into short power build, mid volume, and this one I definitely remember kicking my butt. So there was a lot of incomplete workouts, a lot of started workouts, better an hour than nothing, but again, a lot of low TSS on weeks and weeks of low TSS, and that I think added up, but I still had a significant improvement. And then I jumped into the criterium mid-volume for 8 weeks, and that was the completion of my TrainerRoad process. Now let's look at the ramp tests over that time. So after the Zwift booster, I started last year at a 408, and then after base I dropped to 387, which is normal, and then after the build 410, after specialty 445. But the really important thing to look at it is after I started training myself, it dropped, of course, and then starting this season, I'm a little bit higher than I was even after boosting last season. But the big thing to look at is the starting of TrainerRoad and the completion of TrainerRoad, and that is about a 10% improvement. Okay, so now let's look at what a 10% improvement might do for me this year. So last year, my top FTP was 334 watts. This year, I'm projecting 338. So I'm getting there by saying I'm starting at 411 on that ramp test. If I add 10% of that, I'll hit 451. 451 times 75%, 338 projection. Pretty good. Okay, so I was asked the other day, I don't know how you can sit in your basement for 2 hours at a crack and do those indoor workouts. And I'll tell you how I'm able to do that. It's because I hate getting dropped in the spring and summer. I hate it. I hate showing up at a race and being completely irrelevant. I hate it. I can't stand it. I'm not a naturally gifted endurance athlete. It takes a lot of work and a lot of effort for me to even be remotely competitive in the races that I choose to perform. My performance on TrainerRoad has dramatically changed how much more confident I am as a racer, and it has exposed a world of strategy with regard to my bicycle racing that I knew was always there, but I never really experienced. It was really about raw power in the Cat 543 even, but as I move up to a Cat 2 and racing much more competitive masters fields and even traveling a little bit around the country to race in really competitive fields, it's much more about strategy. The fitness is a given. If you don't have the fitness, you can't play the game. So TrainerRoad gives me the ability, the ticket to get in the arena to play the game. So speaking of that fitness, it could come down to a couple other things that might not be related to TrainerRoad. So I rode more hours, a pretty substantial amount, I rode more miles, again, a pretty substantial amount, and had actually less records. But this is the seasons thing I wanted to talk about really quickly. You can see the trend well ahead of time before the end of the year. If I would have looked at this, or if they had it, I could have seen that I was improving in my short-term power, and maybe I would have done something to improve my long-term power. But the long-term power really is so susceptible to the particular event. Pretty impressive. Now, another thing about TrainerRoad is it's just really about knowing what you're going to do that day and knowing about the greater plan. So I know that I'm building for an overall season, not just a 4 or 5 week booster. So my calendar is pre-filled out. Everything makes sense to me where I'm going on a total arc throughout the season. And it makes it so much easier to follow a scripted training plan. If it's in your calendar, you have no room for error. You know exactly what you're supposed to do that day, and you just get it done. You'll see the results. Now, speaking of this long-term trend, what I didn't see, which surprised me in the 2018 Training Peaks graph versus the 2019 Training Peaks graph, is I didn't see an overall trend. Actually, the 2018 graph below looks like it has more of an upward trend. But the 2019, I had better performance, I raced with better people, and I performed better. So overall, my results were, in terms of numbers, were interesting. My average finish through the 2017 Tour of America's Dairyland was 27th. My average finish in the 2019 Tour of America's Dairyland was 24th. So numbers-wise, not a huge difference, but feel-wise, massive difference. In 2017, I felt like I was totally irrelevant in almost all the races until the end of the week when I think my fitness came around. And in 2019, I felt like I could contribute. I tried a breakaway or two. There was just a lot more that I was able to do in terms of racing because my fitness was there. All right, so what does all that mean to you? It means that you're probably struggling with this question if you're still watching this video. Should I commit 12, 15, 28 weeks to TrainerRoad to prep me for my entire season? Should I give them all that trust? My answer to that question is yes. Absolutely. You will be happy with the results. You will see improvements, and you'll feel like a much stronger rider, and you'll have a lot more confidence. I'd love it if you would sign up for a race beginning this year, build toward that goal, and crush the event. Send me your footage. Send me your thoughts and feelings on racing. Spread the word to get more people involved in racing their bike. We don't care where you finish. We just want you to toe the line. Hey, one last thing. Please like, subscribe, and share this video. I would really appreciate it. Another great way to support the channel is to go to followhollow.com and buy some socks.